Now dear students, we are going to start determinants of price elasticity of demand. So as we have studied what is called price elasticity of demand, that is responsiveness of quantity demanded by the percentage change in price. So which is making the change in the demand is called determinants of price elasticity of demand. So these are various type, approximately 10 determinants we discuss in this topic. These are first one, nature of the commodity. Nature of the commodity determines the elasticity of demand. Either it is elastic or inelastic. Elastic means more, inelastic means less. We have to consider. Keep in mind, wherever we use elastic means more, inelastic means less. So nature of the commodity, that is in case of necessaries, the elasticity of demand will be inelastic. In case of necessities, demand will be inelastic. Inelastic means low. Elasticity will be low. For example, rice, pulses, sugar and salt, these are very essential goods. Whether there is increase in the price or decrease in the price, the elasticity, the change in the quantity demanded will remain same. So that's why it is called nature of the, because of this one, for necessities the demand will be inelastic, it remains same. Whatever the price is, we need minimum, for example 25 kilo bag of rice, we have to consume it whether price increases or decreases. That's why demand will be inelastic for necessaries. Next one, though the prices of these necessaries change, the quantity demanded remains the same is the meaning of this. Next one is luxury goods. Necessary, first one is necessaries, now luxuries. Luxuries demand will be elastic. Why? Because when price changes, that means for example now AC price decreased in summer, a small decrease, then what will be the demand for this one? Demand will be very high, because so many people will like to buy because the price is decreased. For luxury goods, when there is a fall in the price, there will be more demand. When there is more increase in the price, the demand will fall a lot. So for luxury goods, demand is elastic. For example, for diamonds or gold, see nowadays gold is very important for us and it is one of the most important luxury good. As if you see price of the gold is decreased in news, immediately see in markets demand will increase for this. It means for luxury goods demand is elastic, necessaries is inelastic. The next one is availability of close substitutes. Keep in your mind, now we are talking about close substitute. What is called substitute? When a commodity is placed in the place of other commodity, and that is called substitute. So the availability of substitute good for a commodity determines the demand, whether it is elastic or inelastic. It means more or less. So for instance, increase in the price of Colgate, then it will lead to increase in the demand for Close-up, which is very close substitute for us. It means many people will buy Close-up because the Colgate's price is increased. So this, it means that for substitutes, demand is, when the close availability of substitutes exists for that type of commodity, demand is elastic. So but in case of non-availability of substitutes, means availability of substitutes is less. Take an example, nowadays we have 3 telecom operators only. Once upon a time there were many, but now only 3 telecom operators like Jio, Vodafone, Idea and Airtel. Since only 3 service providers in the market, whatever the change in the price, we cannot leave them, but it means that the elasticity of demand remains unchanged because many availability is not there. The substitutes availability is very less in the market. Hence we have to stick with those whether we are interested or not in the prices, or whether like or not of the prices. So it means that when availability is more, the demand is elastic. When availability is less, demand is inelastic. The next point is complementary goods. What is complementary goods, friends? That is when a commodity has to be used with the other commodity to satisfy a want, then the commodity is called as complementary good. For example, car and fuel. If the price of the car increases, the demand for fuel will decrease obviously. And if the price of the car decreases, the demand for fuel will increase. So, if the demand for car is elastic, then the demand for petrol also will be elastic. Reason is, when car's price decreases, demand for petrol will increase, and as well as when the demand for car is elastic, demand for fuel also will be elastic. Demand for fuel also will be elastic. So, the next point is multiple uses of the commodity. Multiple uses means we can put the commodity into several uses. I am going to use the same example which already we have taken in our previous points, that is milk. Milk can be put into several uses. I can make tea, I can make coffee, I can make curd, I can make sweets, many types of sweets. So, it means that I can put the one milk into several uses. When a commodity can be put into several uses, it will have elastic demand. It means if price of the milk decreases, I will buy more. It means people will buy more. It means it has elastic demand. If a commodity can be put into only one use, assume that milk can be used only in making of tea. Nothing else can be made. It means that for this type of commodity, elasticity will be inelastic. Elasticity will be inelastic. Now, the next one is postponement of purchase. That is, purchase of the commodity can be postponed. If one can certainly postpone the purchase of certain goods like vehicles, ornaments, AC units, so from the present to the future, so then the commodities will have elastic demand. The commodities will have elastic demand. It means that when a want can be postponed, so that commodities demand will be elastic. A want can be postponed, then the commodities demand is elastic. For example, now the AC I want to buy. Now I am thinking whether I should buy it or not, because prices are not matching with my budget, but I likes to buy. Then I thought that okay, in next season I will go to AC because I have some little budget problem. So therefore, I will not go to AC. It means demand for AC will not come from my side. It means demand is elastic for this commodity, inelastic for this commodity, because I can postpone it. I can postpone it. That's why it is elastic. It is elastic because it is not suiting to my budget. For example, if the price is decreased, then I will buy more. There is no problem. But it is not up to my budget. That's why I am going to postpone it. Therefore, it has elasticity, it is called. But in cases, some wants cannot be postponed. So that is, but in case of life-saving medicines, the demand will be inelastic. What I said? In cases like life-saving medicines, demand will be inelastic. See, there is a patient, he must take a medicine for his heart problem. Every day he must consume a pill. So, since it cannot be avoided, it cannot be postponed, he must buy the pill. Therefore, whatever the change in price, demand will be there, demand will remain the same, that is inelastic, that is inelastic. So, for life saving activities or for life saving commodities, demand is inelastic in this example. It means when a commodity's want cannot be postponed, then it is inelastic. What we have observed? When a want cannot be postponed is inelastic. When a want can be postponed, it is elastic. Now, the sixth point is proportion of income spent. Proportion of income spent also determines the demand, whether it is elastic or inelastic. See, if the proportion of income spent on a particular commodity is very small, demand for it will tend to be inelastic. That is, for instance, demand for salt or newspaper, match boxes remains same, because the amount we are spending on these commodities is very less. For example, 10 match boxes we are using for the whole month, it will be 10 rupees. Will we change quantity demanded as there is increase in the price or decrease in the price? No. Newspaper approximately 250 or 300 rupees per month. So, for these type of commodities on which consumer spends less amount, demand will be inelastic. Whereas, others like AC, vehicles will have a elastic demand, because majority of amount has to be allocated to purchase these goods. For example, that is vehicle. Nowadays, a bike approximately 80 to 90,000 rupees. It means that we are spending major amount, a good amount we are spending on the vehicle. So, when a person is spending a huge amount on a commodity, for that type of commodities, demand will be elastic. Demand will be elastic. Next one is period of time. There are two periods, one is short period and long period. In the long run, demand will be more elastic. Demand will be more elastic, because longer the time period considered, greater will be the possibility of substitution for a cheaper good. It means when a consumer has longer time, then he will try to substitute the commodity which is cheaper in the place of expensive commodity. Hence, the demand for that commodity will become elastic. Demand for commodity will be elastic in long period. For example, petrol price and the bike. When petrol price increases from 80 to 100 rupees, in long period what we will do? We will try to change vehicle which will more economical, It means as there is a long time, then we will change some commodity and we will change the consumption of petrol in long period. Whereas in short period, demand is inelastic. So, immediate effect on the person when the price of the commodity, price of the petrol changes, can be considered as an example. When immediately price is increased from, when price increased from 80 to 100 rupees, immediately we cannot do anything. Hardly we can reduce some amount of trips, but overall we have to maintain the same amount of petrol. So, in short period, demand is inelastic. When it is time given 6 months or 1 year, so we can plan and we can change the vehicle. If you are using a sports vehicle, it will not be economical. Then you will come to the economic bike and you will change the consumption of petrol, because in long period you have got the time to change the machinery and you can change the consumption of petrol. In short period, there is no possibility to change any amount of petrol, that is why it is inelastic. Now, the other one is price level. If the price of a good is too high or too low, then the elasticity of demand for these goods will be inelastic, because when price is too high, who is going to buy these commodities? Elite section, rich section, they don't bother about the prices and they will buy. If it is too low, like matchboxes and salt, people won't bother about this commodities prices, they buy the same amount of the good. So, it means when commodities price is too high, inelasticity, too low, also inelasticity. When the price of the good is moderate, for example, the rents of houses, these are moderate prices. If rent of the house increases some amount, for example, a person is living in a single bedroom and he is paying 5,000 rupees. If the owner says from next month onwards you have to pay 500 rupees extra, then immediately he will say, sorry sir, I cannot pay because this 500 is very high. And he will try to get other substitution if the owner is very stubborn. If he is not going to decrease the rent, he will see some other substitute. So for moderate commodities, demand will be elastic. For the prices which have moderate prices, the commodity will have elastic demand. If the commodity's price is high or too low, then it will have inelastic demand. Next one, goods leading to addiction. So there are some commodities, at the beginning these will be consumed for just for fun in friends, especially in youth. After some time, the consumption of these goods will become an habit and it will turn into an addiction. For these type of commodities, now what will be the elasticity we are going to see. In case of habit forming commodities like tobacco, alcohol, the demand for such goods will be tend to be inelastic. The reason is, a person who is consuming alcohol and he is an addict, every day he must consume alcohol. So he will consume at any cost whatever the price is, because he is addicted to alcohol, he is an addict. So for these type of commodities, the demand from these addicted people is totally inelastic, they will buy at any cost. And whereas other commodities, consumer goods, who are accustomed to the goods will buy them even if the prices of these goods increase. So they are habituated and they cannot leave this, that is why they will buy. For example, mobile phone, it is a kind of addiction, but it is accustomed, we are habituated for this. See, nowadays prices are increasing like anything for these mobile phones, even though we are buying these commodities and these have elastic demand. The next one is income group. So people belongs to different income groups. Therefore, the demand from these different income groups will be different. So in general, the demand for major commodities purchased by higher income group people will be inelastic, as they do not bother about price changes. See, rich people don't bother about any change in the price. That's why they will be continuing the same commodity, buying the same commodity. It doesn't affect for these people. So that's why the demand for higher income group people is inelastic. And on the other hand, the demand of middle and lower income group people. So these are the people most volatile to the changes in the prices. When there are changes in the prices, these two sections will get affected a lot. So for this section of the people, the elasticity is elastic, because they will be very sensitive to price changes, we can call. For example, see in DMart, if he announces 50% price decrease for dal, immediately so many people will move to DMart. And Brand Factory, buy 2000 and we will give you 4000 rupees worth clothes. So these middle and lower income group people rush to this Brand Factory and they will stand in queues and they will buy huge amount. So the elasticity for lower income and moderate income group people or middle income group people will be elastic. For higher income group people, it is inelastic. So we have to keep one point in mind, that it is difficult to say whether a commodity has elastic or inelastic demand immediately on the nature of that one. So we have to make many considerations. On the basis of these many considerations, we have to decide whether it has elastic demand or inelastic demand. So clear observation is important to say whether the commodity has elastic demand or inelastic demand.